Naruto, Rise of the Darkest Shinobi Force. Episode 71, is simply an invincible ability, artifact. Heavenly Lock. The brow between the thousand-hand pillars was deeply furrowed. Susanoo had an artifact he knew, but besides that, what else could be called an artifact? Kusanagi sword? Mjolnir's sword? Staff? 6 ninja tools? In summary, although the above several have extraordinary abilities, in the final analysis, they are only ninja tools, and at most they are made with yin-yang techniques. Artifact. After thinking for a long time, Senjukuma silently breathed a sigh of relief. He thought that Naruto Uzumaki had taken some strange weapons as artifacts. After all, there is no god in this world, how can it be possible to have an artifact? Boom, boom. At the moment when he relaxed among the thousand-hand pillars, a rattling sound of chains sounded, and golden light enveloped him. At the same time, Naruto was bathed in golden light, really like a god. In the name of God, come out, Lock of Heaven! Naruto opened his hands and roared. The ground suddenly emitted a dazzling golden light, soaring thousands of meters into the air, and the sky was dyed golden yellow. In the indifferent gaze between the great snake pill and the thousand-hand pillar, from the golden ground, a sharp wedge slowly stretched out, followed by a chain that emitted golden light. What's that? Orochimaru's eyes widened, and he roared in a hoarse voice. He had mastered most of the ninjutsu of the entire ninja world, however, he had never seen this ability, and of course, Naruto's other abilities except for the King Kong blockade, he had never seen it. Artifact. The thousand-hand pillar frowned tightly. Different from what he imagined, it was not a six-way ninja tool. Oh yes. The golden light chain suddenly rushed into the sky, with a piercing crash and rumbling. The Myojin gate, which was enough to suppress the 9 tails, was shattered in an instant, and the broken wood that shattered fell from the sky overwhelmingly. Countless golden chains were withdrawn and hovered around Naruto's body, like golden dragons. Naruto stood in the golden light and strode towards the Senju pillar. First Hokage-sama, it's all up to you. Orochimaru smiled hoarsely and quickly retreated with Kaguya Kumaro. When faced with ninjutsu that he had never seen before, he didn't want to step forward in person. The thousand-hand pillar nodded, gritted his teeth fiercely, clapped his palms together and roared, Immortal Law Myojin Gate. With a burst of esoteric power fluctuations, a layer of black face quickly spread on the face between the thousand-hand pillars, and the powerful chakra broke out, and the ground under the feet of the thousand-hand pillars shattered in an instant. The red chakra covered the surrounding area for several meters, and the air was condensed. The terrifying chakra could not even withstand his own body between the thousand-hand pillars, and the cracks on his face spread wildly, followed by countless pieces of paper to repair. What a powerful chakra, even breathing is a little difficult. The one with a fist mark on his chest said in pain. Domineering scary. Shueiyu was so frightened that she was wet and quietly hid behind a large rock. As for Shiro, he has already fainted. Uchiha stopped the water no better than Shiro, and struggled for half a day and couldn't get up. Sure enough, being manipulated by others, and using it yourself, there is still a big gap. Orochimaru said with a hoarse smile. Immortal Law Myojin Gate. Immortal Law Myojin Gate. Immortal Law Myojin Gate. 7 or 8 immortal arts were used in a row between the thousand-hand pillars, and his body was already surrounded by cracks. Even so, he still looked at Uzumaki Naruto with a firm face. I definitely won't let you hurt Konoha a single point. Naruto couldn't help but laugh out loud, pointing at the Senju pillar and laughing. The original Hokage, you are really stupid and cute, being dealt with by the big snake pill who is also a traitor. It's so ridiculous, I'm about to burst into tears. The thousand-hand pillar turned a deaf ear, only caring about controlling the whereabouts of the Myojin gate in the sky. Naruto laughed for a long time, then shook his head, stretched out his palm and pointed his palm at the sky. Heavenly Lock, use the power that even the gods can kill. In an instant, the sky, the earth, were all surrounded by golden light, like golden rivers, from which one after another, heavenly locks poked out. 100 roots. 1,000 roots. A number that is difficult to count with the naked eye protrudes from the sky, like golden dragons, intertwined with each other, forming golden chains tens of meters thick. With the wave of Naruto's finger, hundreds of chains that looked like golden dragons, with sharp wedges, crashed into Myojinmen. Click, click. The immortal magic gate that the original Hokage used to break through the limit was broken in an instant, and once again turned into wood chips in the sky. What? Impossible to. The thousand-hand pillar looked at the shattered immortal art and said in disbelief, the Myojin gate has the ability to suppress chakra and seal chakra, even the 9 tails can suppress it, why is there no way to suppress your chakra? Naruto did not object to this. Myojin gate was enough to rank in the top 5 in this world sealing technique. The thousand-hand pillar had used this technique to suppress the ten tails action, and once suppressed the dirt spot, which showed the power of this sealing technique. But the lock of heaven is a weapon against God. After fusing my body, the higher the object of capture, the higher the chakra, the more the artifact that increases the hardness. Your chakra is so powerful, which also leads to my heavenly lock, the hardness reaches the limit. Naruto opened his hands and said with fanaticism. For the god weapon heavenly lock, if someone wants to confront it head-on, there is only one way to die, and the stronger chakra is, the more cocooned he will be. How is that possible? The thousand-hand pillar roared in disbelief. How can there be such a perverted ability in the world, and actually increase the hardness according to the strength of the opponent? Isn't this invincible? It's simply an invincible ability. Could it be that the reawakening of the King Kong blockade is this ability? Orochimaru said in disbelief. Compared to this ability, what is the Sharingan? Garbage. Don't say that, the last invincible one gave up thinking in space. Naruto smiled and stretched out his hand and said, as long as you don't have chakra, or your speed exceeds the heavenly lock, or directly attack me, the heavenly lock will have no effect. The big snake pill swallowed a mouthful of spit dryly, and secretly cursed in his heart, how is it possible? Their strength is all brought by chakra. And the samurai without chakra, in the opinion of Orochimaru, Naruto Uzumaki, can hit 100 of them one by one. In that case, no way. The two hands between the thousand-hand pillars slapped together fiercely, and roared, Mudu flower tree realm has arrived. In an instant, countless tree roots in the ground spread to each other, and in just a few seconds, the ground in a radius of thousands of meters was covered with a layer of tree roots, and flowers like lotus huabao grew out one by one. Naruto shook his head slightly, and said helplessly, really, don't you understand the gap between you and me? There is an interstellar gap between man and God. Episode 72. Run, Bug. There can be no perfect ability in the world, and the shortcomings of this technique lie in you. The senjutsu stared at Naruto, gritting his teeth and roaring, and the chakra all over his body ignored the explosion of his body. In an instant, a huge pattern shattered from the chest between the thousand-hand pillars, spreading all the way to the face, and the body almost collapsed. Blossom. Beautiful lotus-like flowers bloom above the roots, scattering countless pollen and spreading around with the wind. Pollen. Naruto smiled disdainfully, the Hanagi realm has the ability to make people faint, even if his physical fitness is strong, he can't resist. But why did he inhale this pollen? In front of everyone's eyes, Naruto's body flew upwards little by little, and the pupils of Orochimaru and the others between the thousand-hand pillars shrank sharply. Flying. Shueiyu shouted in disbelief. Worthy of Naruto-sama. Uchiha couldn't help but laugh. Evil Force Leader, in this way, my choice is right. No longer clutching his chest, he muttered to himself. He did not choose to flee on the spot, but chose to fight to the death, so it seems that it is the most correct decision he has ever made. It's not Tuduin, how did you do it? Senjikuma looked at Naruto who flew into the sky in shock, and Suchikage could let him fly into the sky, which Senjikuma knew. But Naruto. Abominable, Mudun Mulong technique. Seeing that the flower tree realm was useless, the thousand-hand pillar quickly clapped his hands together, and several large trees around him twisted strangely, turning into wooden dragons, circling and tearing towards Naruto in the sky. Guy who remembers to eat or not, didn't you see the gap between us clearly just now? Naruto opened his hand in the sky, and the tips of hundreds of thick golden chains, like a long knife, were tightly aimed at the pillars of the thousand hands. Ah! There was a roar between the thousand-hand pillars, and the thighs of the shattered body were broken, and even so, dozens of wooden dragons still bit Naruto. Fine death. Oh people! Hold on to the gods, Naruto roared, his golden hair dancing in the wind, his hands pressed down, and hundreds of golden chains pierced down like missiles. Boom! 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 The golden chain seemed to have the hardness of a diamond, destroying the wooden dragon with an impeccable posture, and rumbled on the ground. The moment the golden chains hit the earth, everything collapsed, and the ground trembled violently, just like the scene when an earthquake came. Oh my god, that madman wouldn't be trying to solve us together, would he? Shueiyu was so frightened that she turned into a puddle of water, and she was desperately wrapped around Shueishui's body, completely ignoring Shueishui's disgusted eyes. No matter how much he didn't cut it, he looked like he was fleeing, and he grabbed by hard and ran to the side of Shueishui. It wasn't until they ran to stop Shuei that they had time to breathe a sigh of relief, turn their heads, and look at the golden shining scene in shock, as if it were a heavenly punishment. Even the mountains were destroyed in an instant. Without chopping again, he took a breath and said. It's not hard to destroy a mountain, but know that it's one of 100 chains. Lord Naruto's combat power at this time is enough to effect a war, and people can be enemies. Shueishui said excitedly. Only those who have experienced the battlefield know Naruto's terrible. With the ability of golden chains, it can destroy a country and kill tens of thousands of ninjas in an instant, and in Uchiha's opinion, even if the original Hokage is resurrected, I am afraid that it is only so. Under the bombardment of the golden chains, the land wrapped in water and wood turned into a wasteland in just a few seconds, full of ashes and dust. At this time, Naruto slowly descended from the sky. Glancing at the thousand-hand pillars that were constantly gathering their bodies, then they didn't care, turned their heads to look at the big snake pill that escaped in the distance, and the corner of his mouth couldn't help but show a mocking smile, and pointed his palm at the back of the big snake pill and said, "Run, bug." Broken Road Red Cannon. Boom. In the distance, the big snake pill instantly turned his head, bit his thumbs with both hands, slapped it on the ground, and shouted, "Triple Rashomon, whoops." 3 thick iron gates carved with the head of King Yanluo rose from the ground with a loud noise, blocking the flames. Boom. Under a loud bang, the 2 Rashomon gates were directly shattered, and the powerful fluctuations made the big snake pill frightened. Just the aftermath made his soul tingle, as if he had been cut by a knife. If this was hit head-on, the big snake pill would not dare to imagine the consequences. "Big snake pill, I said it, I have something to cooperate with you. If you continue to escape, I can't control life and death." Naruto looked at Orochimaru, who continued to run away, and said lightly, "The heavenly lock can't catch the flexible great snake pill, and using the ghost Dao, with the fragility of the great snake pill's soul, it may die on the spot." Orochimaru smiled hoarsely, not taking Naruto's words to heart, using the earth to escape into the land, quickly fleeing into the distance. It was impossible for the heavenly lock to catch him, he only needed to guard against those few ninjutsu that attacked the soul. Although his attack was not strong, Orochimaru was still very proud of his ability to escape. "No way, it's a pity for such a good library." Naruto sighed, raised his finger to the direction where Orochimaru was fleeing, and chanted, "The end of 1,000 hands, the untouchable dark hand, the archer of the sky that cannot be reflected, the road of radiance, the wind of ignition, when they gather and gather, there is no need to be confused, obey my instructions, the light bullet, 8 bodies, 9 articles, heavenly scripture, treasure, big wheel, grey turret, lead the bow into the distance, and dissipate cleanly. 91,000 hands heavenly cannon." In an instant, several purple beams appeared in the sky, among which the powerful chakra made people feel cold. Behind Naruto, there were several people who were almost breathless when they were oppressed by chakra. 90% of the chakra left in my body was all used by me on this blow, Sayonara, great snake pill. Naruto muttered, and the purple beam burst out instantly. Ugh. The purple beam was like a purple aurora, and before the attack arrived, the powerful power had already enveloped the big snake pill. The big snake pill's pupils shrank sharply, looked at the oncoming purple beam in shock, and slapped his palm on the ground desperately and roared, "Psychic art, triple Rashomon. Psychic arts, 10,000 snakes." Boom. Purple light, powerful chi waves, instantly swept half of the sky, and you can easily see the dazzling of this light from tens of thousands of meters. Episode 73, is like a god, he actually has this kind of strength, is he a monster? The thousand-hand pillar, whose broken body had just recovered halfway, muttered in shock. Boom. A golden chain instantly bombarded his stomach between the thousand-hand pillars, knocking him out, and his body that was hard to recover became broken again. The 4 Vajra blockades that spread out from Naruto's back firmly tied up between the thousand-hand pillars and sent them to Naruto. Naruto said a little unpleasantly, "First Hokage-sama, call me a monster, I am quite unhappy." The word monster was already tired of hearing when Naruto was a child. But just like being scolded, no matter how many times he heard this word, Naruto's heart was a little unhappy. "Look, it's your sore spot." Thousand-hand pillar said helplessly. The treatment of Renzali is not very good in any place. He originally thought that Naruto Uzumaki was from the Uzumaki family and might not experience those things, but he didn't expect it or thought wrong. Thinking of this, the face between the thousand-hand pillars was a little complicated. The Uzumaki family sent to Konoha's host. Could it be that Konoha made a move on him first? Just when the thoughts of 1,000 hands are spinning, Naruto raised his eyebrows in surprise and looked into the distance, the center of the dusty attack. The big snake pill is actually alive, and he took the initiative to send me a message. Naruto muttered, lifting his legs towards the dusty center. When he saw the scene in the center of the dust, Naruto couldn't help but raise his eyebrows, revealing a hint of playfulness. Standing in front of Naruto's eyes was the corpse of a huge snake that had turned into char and was constantly smoking blue. Great snake pill psychic beast, 10,000 snakes? Naruto couldn't help but smile. The fate of these 10,000 snakes was really bumpy, and they were used as cannon fodder meat shields in Sasuke's hands. In the big snake pill, it is also used as a cannon fodder meat shield. Could it be that these two raised this big snake just to be a substitute for the dead ghost? Naruto thought playfully in his heart. Naruto Uzumaki, I see, you came to the southern stronghold to devour the genes of Kazu and make your King Kong blockade evolve, right? In the smoke, a small snake slowly crawled out, and its voice was hoarse and full of evil charm. Naruto walked over, grabbed the little snake in his hand, and pouted slightly. Did you run? In the face of the ghost road of number 91, it is simply a cockroach life to remain undead. Naruto did not object to Orochimaru's speculation, otherwise his own heavenly lock, there was really no way to explain it. Great Snake Pill, how many more times can you use your immortal rebirth technique? So, how about working with me? Naruto said lightly. Orochimaru's soul is damaged, and if you want to restore your soul, you can only cooperate with him. Use the ability to return to the soul. This huge temptation, Naruto felt that Orochimaru would definitely be moved. At this moment, under the Otoshinobu village, the big snake pill was wet and there was a touch of greed in his eyes, and he had understood the power Naruto possessed. That's godlike power. It is not only the body that attacks the body, but also the soul, so it is not a problem to have the ability to restore his soul to its original state. But it's too dangerous, Naruto Uzumaki, you're too dangerous. Orochimaru's eyes were full of jealousy and roared. Naruto Uzumaki, who had the ability to directly attack souls, stood in front of Naruto like a chicken that had just broken his shell, and he had no ability to resist at all. This time he returned to Otoshinobu village by luck through the art of rebirth, but next time, Orochimaru felt that he might be easily crushed by Naruto. What do you want? As long as you give me the ability to mend your soul, I can think of giving you everything I have. Orochimaru said with greedy eyes. As long as he has the ability to repair his soul, coupled with the art of rebirth, he can truly be regarded as immortal. My ability, you can't learn. Naruto directly dismissed the idea of Orochimaru. Although the Oni Dao was released through chakra in Naruto's hands, his ability could not be handed over to anyone only by himself, and Orochimaru's idea had failed, is it? Orochimaru smiled hoarsely and clenched tightly. He didn't believe that Naruto's abilities couldn't be given to anyone else. The only explanation was that Naruto Uzumaki didn't want to give his abilities to him at all. Cure Kaguya and Mari's illness, I can cooperate with you. After pondering for a long time, Orochimaru said hoarsely. In exchange for him with that powerful ability, he will not easily hand it over to others, and cooperating with Naruto seems to be the best choice. Junmaru has a combat power close to the shadow level, and if he can be cured by Naruto Uzumaki, he can be regarded as having a bottom in his heart. Junmaru? Naruto looked at Kaguya and Mari, who had white hair, green eyes, red eyeshadow on his eyelids, and 2 red dots between his eyebrows, and a pensive look in his eyes. Kaguya and Mario suffers from bloodstain, which is so severe that it could take his life. And whether the back path can be treated, Naruto has no bottom in his heart. After all, the back path is specifically for the soul, and for the body, it can only be regarded as a small path. Come here, I'll give it a try. Naruto waved at Junmaru and said lightly. Trouble Naruto-sama. Junmaru walked over without hesitation, bowed to Naruto, and said in a respectful voice. Looking at the respectful Junmaru, Naruto sighed and nodded, calm, confident, and unhurried towards anyone. This kind of person would indeed be full of regret if he died now. Naruto aimed his hands at Junmaru, and a faint blue light enveloped Junmaru's body. Unlike the broken path and the ghost path, the return path does not require chanting, and it is extremely fast. Junmaru gritted his teeth in pain and roared, accompanied by a painful sound. Junmaru's skin surface gradually discharged some white substances. Bacteria for bones. Naruto raised his eyebrows playfully. He somewhat understood that Junmaru's blood was sick. To put it simply, after the bones stick out of the body, they are contaminated with bacteria and return to Junmaru's body, causing infection, which is really a guy with no medical common sense. Ho ho ho, Naruto-kun's ability is really powerful and outrageous. Orochimaru looked at Junmaru, who was gradually recovering, and a flash of shock flashed in his eyes and said, it's just like a god, terrifying and amazing. Don't talk nonsense, I want ninjutsu, earth escape, water escape, dirt rebirth art. If you dare to lie to me, you will die. Naruto stopped his palm and said lightly. Episode 74, Ice Destroying Evil Magic, Water Ninjutsu and Earth Ninjutsu. Orochimaru looked at Naruto in surprise, not understanding what he wanted these 2 ninjutsu for. With Naruto Uzumaki's several godlike abilities, he couldn't use ordinary ninjutsu at all, right? Naruto ignored the doubtful Orochimaru and calmly stared at the small snake in front of him. The celestial lock is very powerful and true, but it is not without flaws, but Naruto did not say it. The heavenly lock hardens through the strength of the chakra, so the Tank Senju pillar has a powerful chakra. But fairy arts, Inyoung art will not make the lock of heaven hardened, just like all are the heavy go of fairy chakra. For this, Naruto also needs strength. A power that can be defeated even in the face of the thousand-hand pillar of immortal chakra. After pondering for a long time, Orochimaru nodded. Kaguya Mari knew it in his heart, took out a bottle full of blood, wiped it with his thumb, and slapped it on the ground. Psychic. Boom. A puff of white smoke exploded. A green snake slowly crawled out of the smoke and spit out 2 scrolls from its mouth, which recorded water done and earth done, respectively. Ho ho ho, this is all the water and earth done that I have mastered, but the water done of the 2nd generation of Hokage, I have not mastered. Orochimaru said hoarsely, as for Genmaru, I will leave it to you first, and I will wait for you in Konoha. After Orochimaru finished speaking, a feeling of dizziness welled up all over his body, and he gasped for a few breaths and supported the wall. The soul is still hurt, that monster. Orochimaru said in shock in his heart. Even the 10,000 snakes and the triple Rashomon couldn't stop it. Naruto looked at the dead little snake in front of him and nodded slightly. Then he opened the earth scroll and the water scroll. Suddenly my eyes lit up. Shueidun has the ability to fuse. Pirate World, Frozen Fruit, Grade A, Growable, Initial Grade A. Death World, Tianshue Soul Slashing Knife S Grade, can grow, Initial Grade A. Demon Tail World, Ice Destroying Magic, S Grade, Growable, Initial A Level. Variant of Water, Ice. Naruto couldn't help but take a deep breath. Compared to water, ice is indeed more powerful. So, I choose the ice-destroying magic of the Demon Tail World. Naruto said firmly. The devil fruit of the pirate world is of no use at all in the later stages of the Hokage world. Although the strength of the soul-chopping knife is strong, I have never heard the name of this soul-slashing knife, so I still give up. And the ice-evil killing magic, the magic of killing demons, can freeze a continent at its peak. Even in the late stage of the Hokage world, it is definitely the top. Fusion. With Naruto's voice, Naruto covered his chest, and a black streak on his body began to spread along his body, gradually covering his face. Naruto's body exuded a demon-like aura, and just by looking at it, there was a fear of falling into hell. Naruto, your current breath is even more evil than the chakra I gave you. The Nine-Tail said with some shock. Click, click. A stream of lilac ice crystals spread from under Naruto's feet, and the surrounding trees and stones were all frozen into purple ice crystals in an instant. What is it? Kaguya Mari touched the purple ice crystal with his bone suspiciously, and immediately gasped in fear. The purple ice crystal actually froze the bones into a popsicle in an instant. What a terrifying ability, the Shueisha family can't do it. Genmaru muttered in shock. The Kaguya family and the Shueisha family both belong to the Mist Ninja Village, but even so, Genmaru does not think that the ice escape of the Water Wuya family can cause this kind of impact. Can't do it. He said without being shocked. The ice of the Shueisha family can't do this level at all. Click, if he didn't chop up Ku-Wu, he stabbed him fiercely to the ground, and Ku-Wu instantly shattered, and his pupils shrank sharply in fright when he didn't chop again. The hardness of ice is actually harder than steel. It's a pity that the cost of chakra is too much, and the range is far from the peak. Naruto shook his head with some regret. In the final analysis, he still has too little mastery of water ninjutsu, and the attributes of the big snake pill are not water, so the collected water ninjutsu is not too much. Don't make your eyelids jump when you hear it. The purple ice crystals that covered nearly 50 meters were actually not satisfied. Okay, guys, let's go to Mist Ninja Village. Naruto said with a raised smile and pointing in the direction of the sea. If you want to ask where the water escapes the most, of course, it is the village of Kiri Shinobi, near the sea. Mist Shinobi Village. Without cutting the water moon, Genmaru, the three fell into deep thought at the same time. Naruto then rescued Shigego from his cell and walked in the direction of Kirito Ninja Village with a smile on his face. And at this time in Yunin Village, Laying was furious. Abominable little ghost, abominable Konoha little ghost, actually dared to snatch the Book of Seals, passed down from generation to generation in our Yunin village. Thunder Shadow roared loudly in the office. Really, it's been a few days, and I'm still angry. Azabui said helplessly. Being angry like this can't solve things. Omoi said with a headache. Although they knew that it was Uchiha Shisui, Konoha didn't admit it at all, and it didn't help. Humph. Those two imps must be Konohas, get ready, let's go to Konoha. The fourth generation of Thunder Shadow roared angrily. What? Everyone present was shocked. Azabui said anxiously, Lord Likage, are you going to go to war with Konoha now? You must know that once the war begins, it will not only involve their 2 villages, but also the other 3 countries will not be left alone. Who said that there is a war with Konoha? We will go to their middle ninja exam. As long as we find those 2 imps, we must kill them. The fourth generation of Thunder Shadow roared angrily. Being invaded into the lair and snatching the Book of Seals abruptly was simply a shame for his life. Stupid bastard, actually dare to sneak attack while Uncle Karabi is away, you must pay the price in Konoha, stupid bastard. Karabi gesturing on the side wraps, phew. Just if you take the Chunin exam, Konoha won't have any objections. Azabui said with a sigh of relief. Then the Yunin village quickly began to organize, and hundreds of ninjas would go to Konoha with the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow. Episode 75, Uchiha Obito, you are not invincible. Is this Mist Ninja Village? It's really miserable enough. Naruto looked at the Mist Shinobi village in front of him, which looked like a dilapidated mountain village. It stands to reason that close to the sea and abundant water resources, no matter how miserable the village is, it will not fall into this kind of field. Naruto-sama, have you heard of the Blood Mist blood case? Looking at the Mist Ninja village in front of him, there was a trace of nostalgia in his eyes. Huh? Do you mean the Blood Mist period? Naruto asked, looking at him. Zaiwu nodded slightly and said, in the Mist Ninja village before the Blood Mist period, the prosperity was not weaker than that of your Konoha, but in the Blood Mist period, the ninja families were strangled one after another, and did not communicate with the outside world, and the end was what it looks like today. Naruto nodded noncommittally. In this world, weakness is the original sin, and the reason why Water Shadow will be manipulated by Uchiha Obito is only because he is too weak. At the moment when Naruto was about to step into the Mist Shinobi village, Naruto narrowed his eyes slightly. Naruto-sama, there are enemies. Xiangfo's pupil shrank and shouted loudly. I know. Naruto turned like a thunderbolt and looked at the man who rushed towards him, wearing a swirl mask and revealing the eyes of the chakra. Break the road, break the void. Die. Storm dance. Uchiha rushed to Naruto with the soil, spitting out a vortex-like flame in his mouth, and the space was distorted in this vortex. Boom. The flames rumbled into the void barrier in front of Naruto, emitting a piercing boom. It is abominable to choose to sneak attack in this place. Without chopping angrily, he took out the decapitation knife and quickly rushed towards Uchiha to stop the water. This is the gate of the Mist Ninja Village, and such a big movement will definitely be discovered by the ninjas of the Mist Ninja Village, and their actions will be miserable at that time. As the intelligence says, it has a very strange ability. Uchiha muttered to himself, taking a few quick steps back. 10 fingers in a row. Kaguya Kuinmari flicked his finger quickly, and bones that looked like bullets shot out from the tip of his finger. However, the next scene made Kaguya Kumaro's pupils shrink sharply. His bones seemed to pass through a phantom, shuttling straight through Uchiha's body. The big knife that was not cut no longer passed through Uchiha's body and smashed on the ground, and for a while, the aura of slaughter permeated near everyone. Kaleidoscope Sharingan's pupil technique, my lord, just leave it to me here. Uchiha stepped forward and said firmly. If the enemy is someone from the Uchiha clan, then whoever it is, it will definitely not be his opponent. Because he is the strongest illusion ninja in the Uchiha family. No, your other gods may be useless. Naruto stretched out his hand and stopped Uchiha and said lightly. Uchiha's ability to bring soil is to blur the body, which simply does not exist in the world in front of him. In this case, whether Uchiha's magic to stop the water is useful or not is still 2 words. Uchiha Shisui, although the intelligence has said it, it's really incredible to see you alive with your own eyes. Uchiha stood on the big tree with soil and said in a flat voice. When helping Uchiha Itachi kill Uchiha, Uchiha Itachi said with his own eyes that Uchiha was dead. If not, he would not dare to exterminate Uchiha. When he spoke, Uchiha Obito had been in a virtual state, just because he was afraid that Uchiha would suddenly use other gods. A strong person who doesn't know his identity. Do you want to join our show organization? After all, you are now also wanted as an S-class traitor. Seeing that Uchiha stopped the water and showed no signs of attack, Uchiha took the earth to look at Naruto and sincerely invited. He really wanted to pull Naruto Uzumaki into the Shao group, and Naruto Uzumaki's strength was enough for him to personally come and invite. Say this after you survive. Naruto's eyes flashed a trace of coldness, and he stretched out his palm and said coldly, 90 black coffin a breaking the way, boom. A huge black coffin shrouded Uchiha out of thin air, and countless sharp auras raged around Uchiha's body. It's useless, my ability is invincible. Uchiha calmly walked out of the black coffin, but before his words fell, he was already dumbfounded. I saw a trace of cold hanging in the surrounding air, the trees froze, and the surrounding ocean seemed to be frozen under this cold air. Absolute zero. Naruto stretched out his palm and pressed it on the ground, a purple magic array kept spinning, and said lightly. Click, click. A cold and rapid icy sound, the sound of ice clean, the harsh and crisp sound made the scalp numb. Uchiha Obito looked at the ground that was constantly frozen in shock, and gasped. Could it be that this guy belongs to the Shueisha family? Uchiha thought in shock, but as far as he knew, there had never been such a powerful ninja in the Mizuki family. As for assimilating living beings into cold ice, this kind of thing is even more impossible. But in front of his eyes, not only fish snakes, ants were frozen into ice, and even the life of trees, stones, and other inorganic substances was frozen into ice. Uchiha tentatively lifted his palm, and suddenly, his pupils shrank sharply, looking at the fingers that had gathered frost in shock. There are no invincible abilities in the world, some are just invincible people, and you are definitely not the latter. Naruto said lightly. He forgot how long the blur state could last, but as long as Uchiha Obito dared to lift it, he would make Uchiha Obito instantly freeze into ice crystals. As he spoke, Naruto waved 4 golden chains behind his back, which made Uchiha Obito's eyes widen in disbelief and shouted out in silence. King Kong blockade of the Vortex family. He naturally won't forget the blood boundary of his master Uzumaki Joshinai, but how can the bloodstained boundary of the Vortex family be used by a stranger, and it is still used so skillfully? Since you know, you can't run. Naruto's figure rushed over like a thunderstorm, and 4 chains were constantly intertwined in the sky, forming a huge cage in an instant. Abominable. Fire escape, how fireball technique. Uchiha gritted his teeth, forcibly endured the frost that surfaced on the surface of his body, and spat out a large mouthful of flames. It's useless. The moment the flames touched Naruto, they were frozen into frost out of thin air and fell to the ground. Immediately after that, Naruto threw a punch and slammed it on Uchiha Obito's mouth. In an instant, Uchiha's mouth began to twist, spitting out a large mouthful of blood, and crashed into an iceberg in the distance like a meteorite, accompanied by a clicking sound, and the body was directly embedded in it. Episode 76. Your kaleidoscope riding wheel I want. Such a great strength, is it a strange power passed down from generation to generation by the Thousand Hands clan? Uchiha gritted his teeth and said in a painful voice. He originally saw that Naruto Uzumaki was not very old and was ready to crush him with strength, but he did not expect that the person who was crushed was him. The strange power is not comparable to my growth. Naruto said in a flat voice. Monster power is an ability of chakra to increase his strength, only through chakra, and his pirate world physique is its own power. To put it simply, even if Naruto's chakra is exhausted, his physique alone is enough for battle. Let's take it. Naruto instantly stepped on the ground, cracking the strips on the ground, and the figure instantly exploded. So fast. Uchiha brought the earth pupils to shrink sharply, and struggled hard a few times, but he was unable to destroy the iceberg. Damn, how can you have this ability? Uchiha roared angrily, clapped his hands on the iceberg and roared, Mudun stick. In an instant, several thick wooden sticks spread out from Uchiha Obito's left palm, topping the iceberg, forcibly pushing him out. Click, click. It's actually freezing again. Uchiha took the earth with an ugly face looking at the ice crystals spreading on his palm. In just a few seconds, the body was covered with ice crystals. If it was a long time, it would not be directly frozen into ice cubes. Fortunately, the scope in this field is not very large. Uchiha stopped the water and glanced at it. Only 50 meters nearby was covered with cold ice, and now ran out anxiously. Heavenly lock. Just as Uchiha Obito fled, golden light gushed out from the ground, and a golden chain flew out from the golden light, instantly wrapped around Uchiha Obito's feet. Plop. Uchiha fell to the ground with a plop, and was crushed under Naruto who was chasing him, and his fists rained down. Boom. Boom. Each of Naruto's punches hit Uchiha Obito's body like a missile, spitting blood on Uchiha Obito's mouth. Wow. Uchiha took a mouthful of blood and looked at Naruto, in shock. What a violent force this was, as if he had been hit by a mountain. If he hadn't possessed the white absolute cell, he would have been seriously injured and dying now. This is for the people you hurt, Wave Feng Shui Men, Uzumaki Jioshina, Uchiha clan, the iceberg destroyed by you. Said Naruto in an icy voice. Uchiha took the soil and spat out blood, and was so shocked that he almost forgot to use the blur. How is that possible? What are you? Why do you know my name? Uchiha roared in disbelief. He is a person who hides in the dark, never won, has always been known as Uchiha Madara. Why did this purple-haired young man say his name when he opened his mouth? This question will answer you later. Naruto slammed a punch into Uchiha Obito's chest, and just as he was about to hit, a white arm stretched out from Uchiha Obito's chest, blocking the move for Uchiha Obito. However, the pure white palm was also smashed into meat paste in an instant. Uchiha Obito. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and run. From Uchiha Obito's body, an embarrassed white figure crawled out, which was the white Jew hidden in Uchiha Obito's body. Seeing that Uchiha Obito was about to be killed, he had to come out to save Uchiha Obito for the sake of Uchiha's plan. Noisy. A trace of coldness flashed in Naruto's eyes, and with one finger, 2 golden chains instantly penetrated by Ju's body, tearing him to pieces in an instant. Mudun Big Tree Root. Ju, who lived in the heart of Uchiha Obito, ran out 2 more again, his hands sealed, and the huge tree roots instantly wrapped Naruto. However, in the next instant, a golden light emanated from the thick roots. Click, click. The thick tree roots were directly shattered, and several chains like golden dragons continued to rotate around Naruto, and everything it touched was smashed into pieces. Next, it's you. Naruto looked at Uchiha with cold eyes, and slowly extended his index and middle fingers. You monster, what do you want to do? Uchiha Obito looked at Naruto's outstretched index and middle fingers with some horror, and roared with fear and anger. Now he really regretted it. Why not find out what this person is capable of coming to him again? Originally, I thought it was an ordinary rebel, but it turned out that it was a dragon lurking in a small water stream. Uchiha turned wildly with the earth kaleidoscope chakra eyes, blood flowed from the eye sockets, and his body instantly blurred, and he ran wildly for life. 50 meters, he must escape these 50 meters. Otherwise, even if he wasn't caught by Naruto, his body would definitely be frozen into a piece of ice within a few minutes. Useless work. Naruto stretched out his palm, and in an instant, the golden light chain exploded, and the golden chains of hundreds of heavenly locks chased after them, aiming at Uchiha and bombarding the earth. Uchiha Obito was extremely afraid in his heart, and in this case, he didn't even dare to lift the void of his body, otherwise in an instant, he would be smashed into meat mud by the overwhelming golden chain. In Uchiha Obito's intense breathing, he finally ran out of the 50 meters that was frozen in ice. However, before Uchiha could take the soil happy, he looked at the sky and earth that emitted golden light with a dull expression. King Kong Blockade. Heavenly Lock. Binding Daovajra Chains. Naruto walked behind Uchiha to stop the water, and said lightly. 3 different chains, all emitting golden light, formed an overwhelming net, and when you look at it, Uchiha Obito is like a bird locked in a bird cage. No matter which direction you look at, it is a dead end. Damn, the blur time is over. Uchiha Obito was horrified to discover that his body had turned into an entity, which meant that he could be attacked. Naruto slowly walked to Uchiha Obito, stretched out his index finger and middle finger, and said, the pupil power of the water-stopping eye is too much, your eyes are borrowed first. Uchiha's eyes were shattered 3 times by Susanoo, and he was almost blind, and his ordinary eyes did not match the eyes of the Uchiha family. Originally, Uchiha Shisui was ready to go blind, but he didn't expect Uchiha Obito to come at this time, which also made Naruto very satisfied. Episode 77, Karma, the absolute fear of fear. Want my kaleidoscope chakra eye? Uchiha Obito's face became extremely ugly, and most of his current strength was above that Sharingan. Once this chakra eye is gouged out, his strength will drop by 70%, so let alone his plan, I am afraid that whether he can live himself is still a problem. Thinking of this, Uchiha gritted his teeth, slapped his palm on the ground, and shouted, Mudu Hell Rebellion! Several large trees full of thorns rose up and spiraled upwards, trying to draw Naruto into them. Die! Uchiha Obito looked at Naruto hopefully. It was his most skilled move besides Kamui, which he had used to kill dozens of ninjas from the Mist Ninja Village when he was a teenager. Your kind of Mudun is far worse than the original Hokage's Muduan. Naruto smiled disdainfully, and the heavenly lock swung a few times, crushing the wood in an instant. Shoo! Uchiha took a breath of cold air, as if he had thought of something, raised his head, and said in disbelief, could it be that in the south, you were fighting the original Hokage? He had never heard it mentioned before that there were several powerful chakra fluctuations in the south, and after checking it, he found that it was full of broken wood, and he didn't care. But after hearing Naruto's words, Uchiha Obito instantly associated it, and his heart was full of shock. Not bad, the brain hole is quite big. Naruto smiled and reached out to grab Uchiha Obito's exposed Sharingan. At this moment, a woman's voice came from a distance. The art of dissolving monsters. Huh. Naruto frowned and looked over. It was a ninja from the Mist Ninja Village, a mature woman with turquoise eyes, long curly brown hair, and her right eye covered by hair walked in front and spat out a substance that looked like magma at him. "Stinky woman, don't come early or late, come here at this time." Naruto cursed in his heart, and as soon as he stretched out his palm, a purple magic array circled and formed in the sky. Ice-destroying evil magic, silver seal. Click. The cold ice that spread away instantly froze that magma and fell to the ground like stones. Immediately after the heavenly lock danced, a sharp wedge instantly penetrated Uchiha Obito's two shoulders, fixing him to the ground. Uchiha screamed, although his body continued to recover under the white cells, his body still couldn't move. Damn it. Uchiha Obito's eyes showed a touch of determination, and he gritted his teeth and roared. Izanagi. Naruto's eyes flashed coldly, and he instantly rushed to the front of Uchiha Obito, and directly cut off Uchiha Obito's Sharingan eye. AAA. Uchiha covered his eyes with soil, screaming in pain, and his heart was extremely angry. Little one, who are you? Uchiha stared at Naruto with bloody eyeless pupils, with indescribable anger on his face. He didn't understand why Naruto hated him so much, even if he attacked first, he didn't have to cut his eyes out directly. Boiling mist technique. At this moment, Terumi once again spat out a white smoke from her mouth, and the smoke seemed to carry a super high temperature, and the cold ice that could not be melted. Naruto glanced at her, bent down slightly, and said in Uchiha Obito's ear with an icy smile, "Do you remember the baby you carried during the Ninetales Rebellion?" Uchiha Obito's heart beat in an instant, his mouth opened unconsciously, and if he had eyes, he would have looked incredibly at this time. "Baby, you're the teacher's son." Uchiha muttered in shock. "Yes." In the intelligence, Naruto Uzumaki's physical fitness is excellent, and in terms of his size, the young man in front of him is no different from Naruto Uzumaki. It's just that a teenager has this kind of strength. Uchiha Obito doesn't know whether to cry or laugh. He indirectly killed Wave Feng Shui Men and Uzumaki Gyoshinai. Is it now considered retribution? "There is no more wilderness Lin in your world, go down and find her," Naruto said indifferently, and the figure quickly retreated. In the next second, white smoke enveloped Uchiha Obito. In a scream, Uchiha's voice gradually disappeared. Naruto threw the Sharingan eye to Uchiha Shisui, who shoved it directly into his own eye socket. Turning his head, Naruto looked at Terumi and said with some unpleasantness, "Stinky woman, you are sick, attack me indiscriminately." Terumi's eyes were vigilant, and she snorted and said, "Who told you to fight at the gate of our Mist Ninja Village, and the person who hit is still our enemy?" The moment he saw Uchiha Obito, Terumi immediately recognized Uchiha Obito. This mastermind who manipulated the 4 generations of water shadows and opened the blood mist period. "But he's dead. If you don't want to start a war with our Mist Ninja Village, get out of here," Terumi said warily. Although she didn't want to admit it, the fact was that Uchiha Obito's strength was stronger than her. And the enemy who can defeat Uchiha Obito head-on is undoubtedly stronger than her. To let such a strong man be at the door of the Mist Ninja Village, Terumi always felt uncomfortable. "It's not dead," Naruto said lightly. "What did you say?" Terumi asked in amazement. "What didn't die?" "I mean the guy with the whirlpool mask isn't dead," Naruto said, pointing to the white smoke in the distance. "Impossible, if he hits my boil, he will definitely die." Terumi snorted and said with an affirmative look. "His boiling has a temperature higher than flames, and how can he not die if he carries the boiling with his flesh?" The corner of Naruto's mouth hooked. Without explaining, the lock of heaven danced wildly, bringing up a violent wind, blowing the white mist away. When the white mist cleared, Terumi's pupils shrank sharply. "I saw that in the middle of the white mist, there was a big tree, and the original Uchiha belt soil had disappeared." Naruto smiled and looked into the distance, his fingers compared to the appearance of a pistol. Boom. Naruto simulated the sound of a gunshot, frightening the people standing on a large tree in the distance. "What a monster, I can actually find it standing here." He wiped the cold sweat on his head and ran away without looking back. "I made up my mind that I had to solve Naruto's huge threat first, otherwise they might not be able to collect the 9 tails for the rest of their lives." Episode 78, Frontal Hard Rigid Mist, Shinobi Village. "It's really gone." Terumi looked at the clearing under the tree in shock. Although her boiling is powerful, it is impossible to destroy a person's corroded bones in just a few seconds. The only explanation is that the man really ran away. "Lord Mizukage, are we going to chase?" Ching, who wore a black blindfold, took off the blindfold and asked respectfully. No. Terumi crunched her silver teeth and said through gritted teeth. She also wants to catch the culprit who controls the 4th generation of water shadows, but this is not the main thing. the most important thing at the moment should be the purple-haired young man with a smile on his face. If you don't leave yet, are you really going to start a war with our Mist Ninja village? Terumi asked viciously. The unknown enemy had already been beaten away, but Naruto had not left, and she had a sense of foreboding in her heart. Naruto raised a smile, waved his hand, and without chopping, Mizuki, Shiro, and Uchiha stopped the water and walked to Naruto's side. Crush them, let's grab them head on. Naruto said with a hint of a smile. Naruto originally wanted to lurk into the Mist Shinobi village and snatch the Book of Seals. But now it seems that even if they leave now, the Mist Ninja village will not give up their vigilance, and with Ching's white eyes, it is impossible for them to sneak in, it is better to directly enter it. Do it. Terumi's pupils shrank and shouted, and suddenly many Mist Ninjas threw shurikens, like an overwhelming black rain curtain towards Naruto. How is it possible? Let you disturb my boss as soon as I come up. Mizuki showed a shark-like smile, and his body suddenly turned into a water monster, blocking Naruto's face. The overwhelming shuriken was completely devoured by the body of the water monster, and its power was completely lost. The blood succession limit of the Ghost Lantern family, you are Ghost Lantern Water Moon. Terumi stepped forward and said in shock. In the Blood Mist period, the Ghost Lantern family suffered the greatest blow, and the Ghost Lantern family suffered heavy losses, so the only person who has the Ghost Lantern family's blood succession limit is the younger brother of the Ghost Lantern Full Moon, Ghost Lantern Water Moon. It's really an honor for the 5th generation of Water Shadow to know that I'm a nobody. Shueyu transformed into a human form, squatting on the ground, and said playfully. Magic Mirror Ice Crystal. Bai's voice was flat and frozen, and in an instant, hundreds of ice mirrors appeared in the sky, and Bai stepped forward and merged into an ice mirror in front of him. Shui Wuyue family. Terumi was shocked again. At this moment, Kaguya Kuinmari took off his shirt, reached out and grabbed his back, and directly pulled out his vertebrae, like a whip in his hand, looking at the ninja of the Mist Ninja village with flat eyes. Kaguya family. Terumi didn't know what to say anymore. At the beginning, the 3 strongest blood succession limit families in Mist Ninja village actually appeared in front of her. In addition, there was actually a Peachland that was one of the 7 people of the ninja knife and did not cut it. Damn, are you specifically going against my Mist Ninja village? Terumi looked at Naruto angrily, actually letting them fight with the 3 blood succession boundary families. Little girl, don't give me so unreasonable, or I'll kill you. No longer beheading the decapitation knife on his shoulder, his eyes shone a red light, and he said bloodthirstily. No more chopping. Terumi gritted her teeth fiercely and shouted, defeat them, but don't kill those 3 teenagers. Yes. Many ninjas of the Mist Ninja village answered respectfully, holding kunai in their hands, and quickly rushed up. White eyes. Ching suddenly opened his eyes, and suddenly the green tendons spread on his face. I'll deal with the teenagers of the Kaguya family, you guys go. Ching ordered loudly, but before the words fell, his pupils shrank sharply, looking at Naruto in shock, and anxiously opened his mouth and roared, Mizuki-sama, the guy at the head is from Konoha. Heavenly Lock. Naruto's eyes flashed coldly, and he stretched out his palm. Oh yes. The sharp golden chain soared into the air, leaving 2 golden shadows in the sky, which instantly penetrated Ching's shoulders and nailed him to the ground. Ugh. Uchiha's figure looked like a ghost, and rushed in front of Ao, grabbed him by the throat, and interrupted Ao's words. The more you watch, the faster you die, and you don't understand this truth after 7 or 8 years. Uchiha said in a cold voice. At the beginning, Ching was his defeated subordinate, and if it weren't for his subordinate's mercy, Ching would have died a long time ago. Ching struggled desperately, and when he saw Uchiha stopping the water in front of him, he was so frightened that his eyes almost didn't pop out. Uchiha, stop the water. Beside Ao, someone shouted in horror and recognized Uchiha Shisui. What, he just stopped the water instantly, isn't he already dead? Terumi looked at Uchiha in shock, and then looked at Naruto with jealousy. Who is Konoha's person who can control this kind of subordinate? Sir, do you need me to kill him? Uchiha stopped the water with 2 kaleidoscopic chakra eyes turning, hypnotized Ching in an instant, causing him to fall to the ground weakly, and asked respectfully. Adding a chakra eye is different. Naruto sighed in admiration, then shook his head and said, spare his life and take him away. Yes. Uchiha replied respectfully, and then slammed his palm hard and fainted Ching. Abominable, dissolved lithification. Terumi cursed angrily and quickly rushed to Naruto, spitting out a mouthful of hot magma. Water Dragon Bomb. The water dragon that soared into the air instantly rushed the magma west towards Terumi, and then did not cut in front of Naruto, showing a cruel smile and said, the purpose of my lord coming here is for the Book of Mist Ninja. If you are sensible, take out the book quickly, otherwise, today, you water shadow, it can be regarded as the end. No longer slashing does not intend to destroy the Mist Ninja Village, after all, this is also his hometown, but Zhao Meiyu did not appreciate it, and snorted coldly. If you want to return to the Mist Ninja Village, I can welcome you, but if you want me to hand over the book of Mist Ninja, it's impossible. Dance of bone veins and wire flowers. At the moment when Terumi refused, Junmaru's icy voice appeared behind her. The whip formed by the vertebrae was pumped fiercely. Boiling mist concealment technique. Terumi did not look back, exhaled a large puff of smoke, stepped into it, and the moment the bones came into contact with the smoke, they made a croaking sound, which did not hit Terumi. The blood succession boundary formed by water and fire has such power. Kaguya Mari withdrew his vertebrae, looked at the half-melted bone, and said with some surprise. Don't underestimate the water shadow. Terumi looked at Naruto, outside the smoke with cold eyes. As long as she kills this guy, she will be able to recapture the 3 major blood succession limit families, and at that time, the Mist Ninja Village will become the strongest ninja village in her hands. At this moment, Naruto turned his head and smiled indifferently, which immediately made Terumi's heart jump. Heavenly Lock. King Kong Blockade. Naruto indifferently stretched out his palm. The 2 chains instantly wrapped Terumi's feet and spread all the way to Terumi's twin peaks, tying them to the ground. Episode 79, the 5th generation of Water Shadow adults, not good. Terumi's face was anxious and wanted to pull her body out of the chains, but at this time, Terumi found that she couldn't do it at all. The 2 gold chains are completely different. Chains with sharp tips, hard to the extreme, cannot be broken by manpower at all. And the all-over golden chain can suppress chakra, and the chakra in her body is completely suppressed. The King Kong blockade of the Uzumaki clan, only this legendary ninjutsu can do this, you are the Uzumaki clan. Terumi said as she looked at Naruto angrily. Now she can conclude that today's attack is definitely inextricably linked to Konoha. Not just because of Naruto's words, but also because of Naruto's ability. This has nothing to do with you. Naruto stretched out his finger and tapped lightly on Terumi's head. Boom. Terumi's body instantly turned into a stream of water and merged into the earth. Water body, really a woman like water. Naruto looked at the stream of water and marveled. I think it is also, being able to kill the 4 generations of water shadows and calm the chaotic blood mist period, how can this kind of woman be an ordinary person? Terumi, who was not far from Naruto, had a flash of fear on his face, clenched his teeth fiercely, turned his head and shouted at many ninjas, "I'll go back to the village and use the natural danger to fight them." Mist Ninja Village is bordered by the sea, which can be described as full of natural dangers, and because of this, no ninja village has been attacking here during the blood mist period. I'm afraid not, little girl, your subordinates are too weak compared to my generation. No longer beheaded, holding the decapitation knife, leaning against a tree, and said disdainfully. Terumi looked over, and suddenly her pupils shrank sharply. His guard, Nagajuro, with the ninja sword double sword flounder, was covered in blood and fainted under his uncut feet. The double knife flounder was even taken away by Shueiyue and squatted on the ground to play. And in front of many mist shinobi villages, Uchiha Shisui, Kaguya and Mario, Shigeko, Shiro, just 4 people, blocked many mist shinobi. As a result, many misty ninja can't return to the village at all. Dark forces, or does Konoha want to go to war? Terumi gritted her teeth and muttered. Damn, don't care, solve one first. Terumi shook her head fiercely and looked at Shigeko. Of the people present, Shiro is the weakest, but Shiro is from the Shueiyue family, and she wants to take Shiro back, so the first choice is Shigeko. Terumi ran and quickly rushed towards Shigeko. With a seal in his hand, a stream of water like a meteorite spit out from his mouth. Water array. Hearing Terumi's voice, Shigeko's eyes turned red, and his arm turned into a shield that blocked his chest. Rumble. Shigeko's body was knocked back a few steps, his eyes were red and he roared, and he ran forward. Is this out of control? Uchiha Shisui looked at Kaguya and Mari with an inquiring gaze. Along the way, Shigeko and Kaguya and Mari couldn't wait to live together. Shigeko became like this, Junmaru should understand. Junmaru nodded, and quickly stepped forward to stop Shigeko. Shigeko, calm down. Shigeko saw Junmaru's red eyes, only then calmed down a little, covered his head and said painfully, hurry up and get out of the way, I see too much blood, and I can't suppress it. Junmaru was about to say something, but at this moment, a water dragon broke through the air and slammed into him. Water dragon bomb. Terumi ran quickly under the water dragon and approached Shigeko in just a few steps. Ah. HHH. Shigeko roared angrily, and countless lines on his body spread on his body, and he actually entered the state of spell Mark II in an instant. Shigego's face has a cross-shaped black streak, and 6 pipes resembling car engines appear on his back, from which a violent fairy chakra gushes. It's not good, Shigego is gone. Kaguya and Mari secretly said that it was not good. He stayed with Naruto, although it was because of Orochimaru's orders, but also partly for Shigego. Junmaro pulled out a vertebrae from his back again, intending to subdue Shigego first. Naruto waved his hand, stopped Junmaru, and looked at Shigego, who was in a violent state with interest. Such a powerful immortal chakra, worthy of being a humanoid self-propelled cannon. Naruto exclaimed. Naruto also wanted to master fairy arts, but right now, he didn't have much to do. Through the spell seal, it is possible to be subject to the Great Snake Pill, but this does not affect Naruto's research on the fairy chakra. Heavenly Lock. King Kong Blockade. Naruto waved his palm, and 2 very different chains spread out in an instant, binding Shigego, who was in a rampage. After feeling it carefully, Naruto sighed slightly, and the golden chain blocked by King Kong tightened, directly fainting Shijewel. The chains of the Heavenly Lock have limited abilities when facing enemies that are not pure chakra. Naruto said with a little regret. If the ability of the Heavenly Lock is aimed at more than just chakra, then he can still have the power of a battle even if he faces a ninja who masters yin and yang. Forget it, there is not too invincible power, this ability of the Heavenly Lock is enough. Naruto shook his head slightly, thinking to himself. After all, there are not many people who have fairy chakra, such as the 2nd generation Hokage Senjukuma. Naruto hit him with the Heavenly Lock, and the strength of Senjukuma is useless. It looks like your chain is defective. Terumi yelled, ran quickly on the chains, and kicked Naruto in the head. Rude guy. Uchiha stopped his gaze coldly, pulled out his short knife and slashed towards Terumi. Click, click. Uchiha stopped his steps abruptly, looked at the spreading ice, and gasped. Naruto-sama's indiscriminate attack, retreat. Uchiha let out an anxious roar, quickly grabbed Shigego, and ran towards Naruto's 50 meters outside the body. Terumi also wanted to escape, but Naruto had already caught her kick, and his palm was like iron tongs, and she couldn't pull it out no matter how she dragged it. Naruto stretched out his palm with interest, and the golden chains spread each other on Terumi's body, binding it fiercely, unable to move a step. Naruto pinched Terumi's chin and said playfully, "It's always your real body, the 5th generation of Mizukage." Episode 80. According to the beautiful world, then I will reluctantly accept you, Lord Mizukage. The ninja who was stopped outside the village, seeing this scene, his face was full of indignation, and he quickly rushed over. Don't think about it. Kaguya and Mari snorted coldly and slapped his hands on the ground. Bone vein, dance of the early fern. Whoosh. Laugh at. Phew. One by one, white, sharp, hard bones broke through the ground, instantly penetrating the bodies of dozens of ninjas who rushed up. At the same time, white bones grew all over the mountains, sharp bones formed the strongest defense, and their bones were hard and not weaker than steel. Although you are Orochimaru's subordinate, you still fight quite hard. After Uchiha saw it, he said with a smile. He originally thought that Junmaru would join the organization, even if he didn't make trouble, he couldn't make any contribution, but he didn't expect that he thought wrong. After all, Lord Orochimaru asked me to follow Naruto-sama, and I can't be powerless at all. Junmaru said with a hint of gratitude on his face. At the beginning, Lord Orochimaru was concerned about his bloodstained disease, so he did not use his body, and now his body is recovering as before. If Lord Orochimaru uses his body, he will definitely create the strongest Lord Orochimaru. For this reason, Junmaru was extremely grateful to Naruto in his heart, and he was willing to work harder. Water rush. Suddenly, hundreds of mist ninja gathered together, and the water spit out of their mouths, gushed into a large river and hit their bones. Junmaru frowned, his bone spurs could not withstand the flow of water. Playing in the water in front of the Ghost Lantern family, you guys are too self-sufficient. Shueiyu laughed loudly, grabbed the knife and rushed into the stream. Mizuki turned into a water monster, and the violent water stopped for a moment, then reversed its position and rushed towards the ninjas. Hundreds of ninjas were washed to pieces and screamed in the river. No, there is no way for Shuei-dun ninjutsu to cause damage to the ghost lamp Shuei-ue, and Shuei-dun ninjutsu is useless. An elderly ninja shouted. Only those who have experienced their time know the horror of the ghost lamp family. That's the existence of their water ninjutsu. Bingdun Senben Ice Crystal. Bai quickly rushed forward, shooting dozens of ice crystals in his hand, and the moment he touched the water flow was instantly frozen. Countless ninjas struggling in the current of water were connected by the cold ice and trapped in the water and unable to move. The ice of the Shuei-Wuyue family is also quite terrifying, don't hard connect. Another ninja shouted. damn, doesn't that mean it's all terrible? Many ninjas cursed fiercely. When they heard about it, they didn't feel that they only felt horror when they really fought with these bloodstained abilities. What an annoying guy, don't bother the adults for me. Uchiha's gaze flashed coldly, and one arm instantly covered the blue Susanoo, and with a wave of his arm, he instantly knocked hundreds of ninjas away. So fast? A ninja said in shock. Boom. Uchiha stopped the water with another punch, and Susanoo's arm strength was infinite, solving hundreds of people in just a few seconds. The rest of the ninjas all looked at Uchiha with a look of fear, and they didn't dare to step forward. At this moment, Mist Shinobu village finally recalled the pain of being dominated by Uchiha Shisui. The instantaneous technique Kasusano is an enemy's nightmare. Zhao Mei saw that the silver teeth were about to be crushed, and said angrily, "What do you want the Book of Mist Ninja in our Mist Ninja village for? With your strength, you don't need this at all, right?" The ninjutsu of their Mist Ninja village is mostly about the ability of various blood inheritances. And Shui Dun is not very powerful in Zhao Mei's opinion, and the second-generation Hokage itself is a master of using water Duan, so why stare at the water of their Mist Ninja village? Well, secret. Naruto smiled, a kunai appeared in his hand, gestured at Terumi's clothes, and said with a smile, "Hurry up and say oh, or I'll have to take a look at Terumi-sama's beautiful ketone body, you dare." Terumi shouted with wide eyes. What wouldn't I dare? Naruto waved his palm, and the overwhelming golden chains wrapped Terumi and him. Rip and pull. Terumi looked at Naruto, who had torn off her clothes sluggishly, screaming in her heart, and worried about being heard by the ninja outside, and looked at Naruto with a look that wanted to eat people. "Hurry up and take off your clothes, or I won't let you go even if I start a war with Konoha," Terumi said through gritted teeth. She is now past the marriageable period, and if there is a stain, it will be more difficult to marry. So, hurry up and tell the location of the Book of Mist Ninja. Naruto laughed as he ran his hand across Terumi's body. Terumi took a deep breath, gritted her teeth, and said, "It's in my office, you go and get it." Naruto chuckled and licked it on Terumi's cheek, frightening Terumi. What are you doing?" Terumi looked at Naruto with a look of horror. "Don't be so nervous, I'll lick you to know if you're lying, and this smell is the smell of lying," Naruto said with a hook at the corner of his mouth. Terumi's pupils shrank, licking her to know if she was lying? How can this ability exist? Just kidding. But after seeing Naruto's strange ability, Terumi had some agreement in her heart. "Then I'll tell you the real place." Terumi took a deep breath and said. "It's late." Naruto licked his lips and said, "Give you a little punishment first." As he spoke, Naruto bit Terumi's neck and planted a red strawberry print. "How can I marry like this, you devil, give me death." Terumi looked angry and depraved, and looked at Naruto angrily. "If she goes out like this, how will she marry in the future?" Naruto licked his lips and pouted after hearing Terumi's words. Lived until the second season Boruto turned, did not find a partner, and still expected to marry. "Then I will accept you reluctantly, saving you from yelling all day that you can't get married," Naruto said with a slight evil smile.